years and years ago, Isaiah, a prophet of Israel, foretold the story of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. A virgin will conceive and bear a son, and his name will be Emmanuel. The emperor in Rome, Caesar Augustus, required everyone in the Roman Empire to participate in a massive census. Each person had to go to his or her ancestral city to be counted. Mary's fiancé Joseph, from Nazareth in Galilee, had to participate in the census in the same way everyone else did. Mary, who was now late in her pregnancy that the messenger Gabriel had predicted, accompanied Joseph. While in Bethlehem, she went into labor and gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped the baby in a blanket and laid him in a feeding trough because the inn had no room for them. Nearby, in the fields outside of Bethlehem, a group of shepherds were guarding their flocks from predators in the darkness of night. Suddenly, a messenger of the Lord stood in front of them, and the darkness was replaced by a glorious light, the shining light of God's glory. They were terrified.
Don't be afraid. Listen. I bring good news, news of great joy, news that will affect all people everywhere. Today, in the city of David, a liberator has been born for you. He is the promised anointed one, the supreme authority.
At that moment, the first heavenly messenger was joined by thousands of other messengers, a vast heavenly choir. They praised God. As soon as the heavenly messengers disappeared into heaven, the shepherds were buzzing with conversation.
Let's rush down to Bethlehem right now. Let's see what's happening. Let's experience what the Lord has told us about.
So they ran into town, and eventually they found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in the feeding trough. After they saw the baby, they spread the story of what they had experienced and what had been said to them about this child. Everyone who heard their story couldn't stop thinking about its meaning. Mary, too, pondered all of these events, treasuring each memory in her heart.
Mother Teresa was baptized Agnes Gonja Boyajiu in Skopje, Macedonia around August 26, 1910. Born of Albanian descent, she joined the Loreto Sisters of Dublin, Ireland at the age of 18 and took the name Sister Mary Teresa. In 1931, Mother Teresa traveled to Calcutta, India to teach at an all-girls high school. But on September 10, 1946, a second calling from Christ led Mother Teresa to leave her convent and devote herself to working with the poorest of the poor. In 1950, Mother Teresa created the Missionaries of Charity.
Mother Teresa is one of the great humanitarians of the 20th century because of her ability to love those who were the most vulnerable in society. The work she did in India really challenged entrenched notions of caste and gender roles, and she worked very closely with lepers and other people who were disenfranchised, marginalized, dispossessed.
During the 60s, Mother Teresa opened hospices, orphanages, and leper houses all over India, and later expanded internationally. In 1982, during the siege of Beirut, Mother Teresa traveled through a war zone to evacuate 37 children, and later assisted radiation victims at Chernobyl and earthquake victims in Armenia.
Mother Teresa cares about people. She recognizes their spiritual dignity. She takes care of not just their spiritual needs, but their bodily needs as well. And she gathers other people to help her do that. That, in my mind, is a good humanitarian.
In 1979, Mother Teresa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize and donated the $192,000 prize fund to the poor in India. 6 years later, President Ronald Reagan awarded her with a Presidential Medal of Freedom. By 1986, Mother Teresa operated 517 missions in more than 100 countries.
A very charismatic nun, this little old nun with the wrinkled face and the very simple white sari, caring for the dying on the street, people that have so little hope. That's one of the reasons that she was given the Nobel Prize.